And so we're all thinking that Europe is happy to follow the U.S. when it comes to a trade war with China. It is completely different. The U.S. has more of a political relationship with China, and that is what all the different trade issues are based on. Europe sees China as an important trading partner, so they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place when it comes to the relationship between China and the U.S.
So here's a question for you, right? A very different approach. I mean, obviously, number one economy, Germany in Europe, has a lot of sunk capital in China in terms of plant equipment, et cetera, Siemens and the like, BMW, et cetera, right? In the news recently, BYD, the Chinese EV giant, setting up a factory in Turkey to produce their I'm not sure how much of this is for export or what, but, you know, it seems like, okay, fine, go ahead, do your tariffs. But, you know, by allowing you in to invest in our country, right, we create jobs there. That seems to be a more sort of sensible approach, whereas, as you suggest, I think you said it more diplomatically, but I think in the case of the U.S., it's much more ideological as opposed to economic.
Absolutely. And there are two important points to make there. One is actually on EVs, which is very interesting. Europe has a very ambitious target for net zero by 2050. This means that they need affordable ways to get there. And affordable EVs that come from China are a big part of that. So there is a bit of this issue between the trade-off between raising some of the taxes on EV imports from China because you want to protect the local industry, but at the same time wanting to make the transition affordable. On actually companies, Chinese companies moving their production facilities outside of China, we've seen a huge trend there. And that is probably going to continue in preparation of potential tariffs that the U.S. administration would put if indeed the Trump presidency is confirmed.
This complicates the macroeconomic challenges, and if we can circle back to Europe, if not globally, Fabiana, the conversation is about debt, deficits and the fiscal position. Just how challenging is it within Europe, and how does that inform how we allocate within that region?
It is very challenging, but it's challenging in Europe as it is everywhere else. I was following your program, and there was a lot of talk about the deficit in the United States. In Europe, you have many different countries, and some of these countries are absolutely off their budget limits. France, case in point, we now just had elections. There is an understanding that whatever government comes in, which has not been confirmed yet, if it's going to be a grand coalition, what it's going to look like, there is going to be more spending. And that obviously is going to widen the deficit, which is already very wide.
How do you feel about the UK under a Keir Starmer Labour government now, and all eyes, of course, on October and the budget and what Chancellor Rachel Reeves delivers? I mean, they've inherited quite a precarious set of public finances, which I believe are the worst since the Second World War.
Indeed. So first and foremost, it was a landslide victory from a parliamentary seat standpoint. They got 412 out of 650, which means that they have carte blanche right now in deciding what kind of policies need to be implemented and possibly having the ability to implement them. I think what the Labour Party is bringing is some stability after a very fraught political period. And the other interesting point is that the Labour Party has been extremely business-friendly throughout the entire campaign. So they've spoken a lot to business leaders. They have also made clear that they're not going to increase some of the taxes as everyone was fearing, although some will have to be increased for budgetary reasons. And again, they're giving that sense also that they will get closer to Europe, not going back into the custom union that is now just off the plan, but definitely helping in reconstructing that relationship, and that should be good for the economy.